Everyone. I have a very special guest today. Ilham is an attorney, San Jose-based immigration law firm Sadri Law. Ilham Sadri has a reputation for passionate advocacy and insightful legal counseling. Ilham is a seasoned nationality and immigration law expert and specializes in subjects such as asylum, green card, visas, and also naturalization. As a New York State bar member, she's also an active member of the American Immigration Lawyer Association and the Iranian American Bar Association. Ilham is American Immigration Santa Clara Valley, a chapter chair, where she speaks as a seasoned immigration attorney at national and state conferences for other immigration attorneys about updates and changes in immigration law. Like I said, she's a very special guest I have for you today. So enjoy the interview. So, Ilham, thank you so much for coming. I know this has been a little bit back and forth. I really appreciate you being flexible and giving me time and giving our community time so that we can learn together, from you and from your experience and from your expertise. Welcome. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure to be here with you, and thank you for having me.
All right. I wanted to ask, I know I've already introduced you, but I wanted to hear from you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you to this journey of becoming, assisting people with what you do.
Yeah, of course. So let me start with the law school. And when I started my own firm, I graduated from law school in Pennsylvania back in 2012. And then after passing bar exam in New York, I started practicing immigration in San Francisco, where I was mainly representing clients in immigration court on daily basis. And then I switched to another firm in San Jose. In early pandemic, I was so excited to start my own practice and do it myself. And eventually, I couldn't wait for pandemic to finish, so I did it. I started my own office, got my office, got staff, and started representing clients and immigrants, basically, in family-based immigration cases, marriage, green card, citizenship, asylum, humanitarian, mainly WAWA cases. That's main type of cases that we do in our firm, and I'm enjoying it a lot. Since it's coming from my personal background, being immigrant myself, and coming here as a student, and then settling down here, it feels good for me to represent clients and accompany them in their journey of immigration.
That is so beautiful because I have met a lot of people, who go to work and do something for money or is totally fine and not to make it wrong. But the type of people I admire um, are people who combine both, you know. Of course, we have to work in the world, but using our experience and where we came from gives us to serve people gives us compassion. Not a lot of people have that, so I really admire you went through all that. And law school, I heard, is very, very hard. And you went through that, and you're now serving the immigrant community. So I really admire that. I just wanted you to know that.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah,
it. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
blessing that I have. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Uh, and that means a lot in my personal life too. Yeah.
yeah. It's beautiful. It's very fulfilling, I would assume.
Mhm.
And so I have a few questions that I got from other people um, about the visa, marriage, green card, and then citizenship related. And those are questions that people struggle with. Sometimes they feel also intimidated by,
Mhm.
which is why I collected those questions so that I can ask for them. And then this can be very educative since I'm taking your time um, from your very busy schedule. to answer some of the questions. So one of the person who thinking, considering this, asked, what are the expectations for both the American spouse who lives here in the US and spouse residing outside of the USA in a marriage-based green card application, like the very basic.
Well, that's a tough situation to be in. When you get married, everything is fresh, you want to be together, but because of the immigration situation, which is out of your hand, you're not together, and you don't know when everything will be fixed. The expectation, well, I've seen different people with different expectation. There are people who knows the process and know that it's taking time, and the marriage itself doesn't automatically other spouse in green card holder, so they have to wait for it. They have to prove with some document with USCIS working with them, and then there's another organization, National Visa Center is involved, and then embassy is involved. So there are three organizations basically under umbrella of immigration agencies are involved to work on these type of cases. And some people would come with the expectation that they know the process will take time, maybe 2-3 years, which is really hard. Some people don't know about the process, and it's frustrating, especially that it's early of their marriage, and they really want to be with each other early in marriage. There are a lot of stress, anxiety between couple, and this one is adding up, and we understand that. We try our best to smooth the process. If it's possible, if there's any possibility that they're eligible for any expedited reasons, that we file expedite for them. But unfortunately, those anxiety, depression, or being away from each other, making their life hard, are not acceptable by USCIS for expedite. But yeah, the process is long, time consuming. There are a lot of documents that they need provide to USCIS. We're here to help them smooth the process. It depends on how much exposure they had to this process before. If they haven't had that exposure, they don't know how long it's gonna take. And I always give my clients a realistic expectation, because I want them to know that this is gonna take 2 to 3 years. If you are thinking that your wife will be here in 10 months, you're wrong. And then in 10 months, you will be frustrated if I tell you that the process is gonna take longer. So I rather to be upfront with them. I give them a realistic time frame based on my own like current cases, so that they have better understanding of the process and not get disappointed or frustrated later down the road. And yeah, depending on how much exposure they had, they come with different expectation.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I did not come through marriage, but I know that a lot of people feel very frustrated. I mean, being away from each other, especially after you get married, is a very hard long distance relationship. And it causes a lot of anxiety and frustration, like you said, but that's not a base for the USCIS to expedite. That's about you and not about the system. And I am so happy that you are out there, to guide these people into. I love the way you said smooth it out because I like smooth ride, and the immigrant community are not used to smooth rides, and I strongly advise that they consult, a lawyer instead of going through it. Oh, I know. I'm just gonna fill out and then just send it. It's not gonna be a smooth ride. So, with you and others like you, people have a chance to have not only to have their spouse here, but to make it easier. So, thank you so much for that. So, the question that I had, I actually did not know it takes like 2-3 years, the application process. But I wanted to ask if that is the time it takes the to obtain a green card through marriage to a U.S. citizen, or is it just the process to come all the way here? Does that
Well,
make sense?
yes, 2, 3 years is basically for this non-citizen spouse to get here. There used to be another way of like fight. It's still one of the option is fiance visa, which used to take 10 months. And there are still information out there that when people Google, it comes that, well, if you apply for fiance visa, it's faster, 10 months, you can be here. But unfortunately, since COVID, what we have been observing from realistic cases, we're seeing that even fiance cases that used to be faster, and the reason behind fiance visa is for them to come sooner. They get married here and then apply for a green card. The process for fiance visa is also taking 2 to 3 years. And depending on the country, which country they're from, they may have longer wait to get the embassy appointment. There are countries that they can get appointment within 3 months after their case is approved in NVC, the second organization in between, or there are countries that they have to wait for 2 years after NVC documents are qualified their case, which it's significant difference between countries. So it can be vary between country to country. Yeah, fiance used to be fast. It's not anymore. We give that option to our clients. If you are doing it just because you think it's faster, it's not faster. You can get married and then apply for a marriage green card, because the person comes after 2 years anyway. Better come with green card and authorization to work here rather than coming with a fiance visa. But that's part of the decision that they make it, depending on their personal life, their situation, how comfortable they are to get married at that point or not. But with the whole process, it's around it can be fastest one, I think, a year and a half to 3 years. Year and a half for countries that give the appointment sooner.
That's amazing. And that's a powerful distinction that you made about the fiance visa and then marriage and waiting. It takes about the same time and it's a personal decision. That's a powerful distinction because sometimes people might not be aware and they just, without even consulting, they could just go, oh, I think somebody said that this one takes time and this one doesn't take time. I'm just going to go with that. So thank you for that. And so far, we have talked about it takes time. People need to acknowledge that it takes time and they have to put themselves in now. Okay, maybe it might take 1 year and a half, but it might also take 3 years, and be ready for it. And then hopefully they consult a lawyer for a smooth ride, and that's always my preference. And then they submit an application.
Mhm.
Am I right? And and then what's next? They need to expect.
After submitting a application, well,
Yes.
there's a important step before submitting application that they need to be aware of, document that they need to provide to USCIS to make the decision. Because the first step is a petition that they file to prove their marriage is legit and bona fide for matter of love, not for immigration benefit. So I know, I mean, it's obvious to couple that their marriage is legit, but we cannot assume USCIS accepted just because we're saying it. They're not accepting. We have to prove it, even though it's obvious. You need to prove what's obvious to you, to USCIS, who assume know nothing about your case. So it comes with different cases have different requirements because different people have different lifestyle and different situation with their relationship, whether or not they have been living together for a long time before or short time before applying for a green card, or they haven't been living together and one of the spouses outside the country. For people who are living together, we want them to submit document of joint asset, like joint lease, joint utility bill, joint bank account, health insurance, car insurance, showing beneficiary, the other person as beneficiary of life insurance, anything that shows this person is part of your life and you are living together. Anything, these are just examples. Some people come up with other type of document, but for some people whose spouse is not in the US, and or spouse doesn't have social security to get those documents, get a name on the bank account, get into utility bill, those documents, it's different. So we have to be a little more creative depending on every client's situation. We come up with a document that apply to their situation to prove their marriage is bona fide and legit. So I always tell my client, don't get offended, but I have to get this document. We need to submit it because we want it to be smooth rather than getting RFE for proving your marriage. That's the main part, how to submit that document and petition to USCIS. Once they submit petition, depending on where they are, if they are here, we usually apply for green card adjustment of status, work permit, social security if they don't have it, and travel document at the same time, advance parole at the same time. So they get receipt in few weeks and they get biometric appointment. They do fingerprint, they take their photo, and then sometimes they call for interview to couple. Both of them have to show up at the USCIS for interview if they are in the US. Okay. If they're outside, then the case is a little different. Their case involved 3 organization agency. NVC, after I-130 is approved, it goes to National Visa Center where US citizen spouse needs to provide financial document. Then the case become documentary qualified. They have to wait for embassy to give them appointment, that process is the one that can take between 2 months to 2 years. I've seen some countries like Iran, it can take up to a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah, that's basically what happened after submission.
Wow. You see, like we're always going from "Oh, what next? What next?" But that was a very important piece that you have mentioned about submitting, because we're always we just have a little bit information and we just want to move on. But what I hear you say is very important in any area of life is the preparation is the key, because later, you're preventing from being denied. So you're having all the documents that is supporting that you are actually married before the question arises. And I really love that, because if you do that diligently, then later it would be easy for the decision to be made. And that's what I'm hearing you say. And that is very important. Thank you so much for that information. Now, after they submitted, hopefully with the help of a lawyer or by themselves, after hearing this, or they did a research or whatever, after that, and then they get the appointment for the, you said, biometrics and all that. Might take 2 months to 3 years, depending on where they are. So after that, and after they are called for an interview, what is it that they can prepare for? Or is there a step before that I'm not aware of? What is next?
But before we get to the interview, I want to clarify something. For people who are outside the country, it can be between a year and a half to 2 or 3 years. But for people who are inside the country, and we can apply for adjustment of status and I-130 at the same time, work permit, social security, everything. What I'm seeing is 6 months now. My clients are getting approved within 6 months. Yeah. I had clients
Oh my God.
August of last year, and she got her green card last week.
Are you serious? In 6 months?
In 6 months in San
Wow.
Jose. In San Jose.
Wow.
The 6 months is pretty fast, and
Yeah.
I think it's even less than processing time, normal processing time that is on the website.
Right.
And it's in San Jose. Again, the location is different. And another factor is that it's now. 6 months later, it might not be this. So this
Wow.
thing that is really subject to time and when we are where we are. Right now, I can say, yes, my clients are getting green card in 6 months in San Jose area, but it doesn't necessarily apply to someone in another jurisdiction or a year, last year or next year, especially if the administration change. It might be different.
Of course. And I mean, with USCIS, everything is changing every time. That's why they keep updating their website, and then they give engagement with community, because it's always changing. So what we discuss today might not be true tomorrow. Oh, but you said it takes 6 months. Now it's taken 3 years. So we always have to give that grace for ourselves. Like, oh, it might take a year and a half and 3 years. And what I do with this kind of
Outcome.
situation is, oh, if it happens in 6 months, I will just be happily surprised.
Mhm.
So thank you for that tip so that people don't get confused.
What we usually do for marriage green card interviews that I always put marriage green card schedule and have a prep session for my clients. What we do in that prep session is that I go through everything that is going to happen on that day at the interview, from the moment that they enter the building until the moment they leave the building. Where do you need to go? Where to check in? Where to wait? And then officer call you in the office, start putting you under oath, and then ask you a question. I go through the question that officer asked them, and I start asking them those questions. Make sure, and I want to see how they are answering, how well they are prepared. Sometimes I tell them this is a list of questions. I have a list of 120 questions that usually being asked at the interview, but I'm not just giving it to them to go and practice themselves. I ask them those questions to make sure that they actually practice and they actually know answer to those questions. And that helps a lot to my clients know what's going to happen next, what to expect in that building that is going to happen, what to expect to be questioned about. That helps a lot to know what's going to happen. And in order for that actually purpose, I have an ebook free of charge on our website that people can download it. And it's just for preparation for marriage green card interview. Questions, that 120 question that I have for green card that I give my client, I have it on the website. They can go and read those questions, prepare themselves. What document they need to take with them to the interview, how to dress, how to be prepared for that day from beginning to the end. And everything is in that ebook. I think it's around 40 or 50 pages of very good information that they can go on our website and download it. Basically what I go through during my prep sessions.
That is so incredible. One of the things that I notice, I sometimes interpret for clients when they go for their interview, not necessarily for marriage. Nothing is coming to my mind, but for any interview related to, immigration and USCIS, mostly people's issue with that is they're ready, they have studied, they have prepared, but once they get there, the nervousness gets the best of them, and not knowing exactly what's happening kind of takes them off from what they prepared for. I want to tell you one time I was sitting next to this person who was being interviewed, and the USCIS interviewer was on the other side, and we're sitting like this. And he was asked a question, and he got so nervous. He held my hand.
Oh,
It hurt me. I'm like, oh my god! And I was trying not to make a big deal out of it and trying to get him off me, but I understood at that point like how nervous. And then this is a very smart person and an educated person, but sometimes nervousness gets in the way. So I love the idea that you prepare your clients, how it's going to be, what questions to expect, and give them a visual of what's going to happen. Will give them, will keep the nerves a little bit, you know
yeah.
low, and be able to contribute to their success. And I love that. And also, you mentioned the free ebook. How generous of you, really. Yes, some people, will afford a lawyer and will come and do that. I'm a kind of person, I will put it on my credit card. I don't care. I will not do anything that requires my future, in my own hand when I don't know how to do. And I will hire a lawyer for anything that requires something serious like that. But not everyone is able to do that at that time, maybe. And maybe money is short. And for you to actually put the free ebook on your website so that people can go there and prepare themselves, and then uh, wish them luck. That's very generous of you. Not a lot of people are able to do that. So I'm gonna put your website at the YouTube at the end, and maybe also put the where they can find that free ebook, so people can prepare themselves, and
Yeah.
if they need you, they can also come back to you to ask questions. So I really appreciate that. So one of the questions that was coming to me while you were talking about that was, in my culture, I'm not sure about yours, but in my culture, one of the biggest issue that we have is when we are nervous, we forget dates and details.
Mhm.
So, what can you advise people who, because of nervousness, they are during their interview, they can't remember, like they're blank out. I do that sometimes. So I blank out. I'm like, how old is my son? Hold on, when was he born? It comes from nervousness. So, what can you advise people to do
Of
in this
course. So
situation?
I've seen a lot of that. Over years, I've seen sharing this information of how to be prepared and how to answer in these situations that are rare, but they may happen, help clients to have a more successful interview. And this actually nervousness and forgetting information is one of the factors, one of the items in the ebook that we shared. So if I always tell my client, if you don't remember something, the main important thing in your case is that you need to keep your credibility. You shouldn't lose that at any cost. If you don't remember because you're nervous, just say I don't remember. Even if that's a date that you must remember, like date of birth of your child, yeah, of course, you should remember that, but you're nervous. It's better to tell the officer that I'm nervous, I don't remember, and that's completely understandable for officer. Officer expect you to be nervous, but officer doesn't expect you to give up a wrong date. Officer doesn't expect you to give a random date and then you're ruining your credibility. And then you have to go back and prove that, oh my God, no, sorry, I was nervous. I didn't lie. But officer, what officer is hearing is lie because they can see the information, they know the information. It's not that they don't know it. The dates, like another date that come up a lot is date of entry. If people, how was their entry and departure dates from US, especially with citizenship, officer have access to see it. They're just asking you to see you are answering the question right or not. You're not the only source of that information. They have the access to that information. So it's a matter of you just saying, I don't know. It's way better than giving the wrong information. If you don't understand, I always tell them, no, well, just say, repeat it. If you don't know what to do, what to answer, just say, I don't know. It's way better than saying something that it's not true.
I
Yeah.
really love that, because sometimes people feel like I need to know this, and then they put a lot of pressure on themselves. And if you give a wrong time or a date, then that might actually, they might not be able to say, oh, she was nervous or he was nervous. You have to say that.
Harder to fix it if you give a wrong information, knowing that because just you're nervous.
Yeah.
And officer understand that sometimes officer help you to, you can tell them, I'm sorry, I'm type of person that I get nervous in this situation. They help you to feel more comfortable. Yeah, rather than dealing with, yeah, you lied and now fix your credibility. That's really harder and more expensive.
Exactly. And nobody's going to say, oh, it's because, they were nervous or whatever, because he did not say that. So saying it in the beginning, or even when it happened, sometimes when I'm asked questions, I kind of blank out, like I said earlier. And then I always say, oh my God, I'm sorry. I think the question made me nervous. I can't even remember my own birth date or something. And kind of, could you please give me a moment to think? And that's actually being authentic. And that would give the person that is interviewing you, they're human, right? Oh, they can understand because they have been in that situation themselves, because we're human. We all been in that kind of situation, one way or another. So thank you for that. I really love that answer, and I think it will help a lot of people. I know that on your website, people can find what kind of documents they can provide to make their application successful. Am I correct?
Yes, there are
Oh,
some.
all right. So now, is there anything else we need to talk about between the application and then the interview that I haven't covered before we go to acceptance after they are being accepted? Is there anything else that I left out that
Uh,
you
from
think?
the time that they file application until interview, no, it's just whatever happened during that time frame is biometric appointment, and then sometimes if they are in the US, they get their work permit, social security, and advance parole, and then it's green card interview. Right now, during this time frame, like I think they started last summer, maybe they started waiving some marriage green card interview.
Hmm.
Some. And they might continue doing this by end of this year, but we don't know what's going to happen next year if administration change. That's not clear. But for now, they are waiving marriage green card. Most of them, there are some that are separating couple that are still those type of interview that are still continuing. But yeah, for this year, we don't see a lot of marriage green card.
Oh, wow. Okay. That is very useful information. So once they have, they made the application, and they submitted the application, and then they went to the interview, and then will they receive a letter, I would assume, that their case has been accepted. And now, after that, is there, for people who are, their spouses outside of the United States, is there a time frame that, how long does it take for them to
Their
account?
interview.
Like, yeah, after the interview.
After. Well, let's talk about the people who are inside the US first.
Okay,
After
great
interview
idea.
inside the US, they go together, both couple. They ask question at the end of interview if officer can make a decision, he make a decision and give them approval or approval and tell them that they get green card in 1, 2, 3 weeks or so. If officer can't make decision, give them a interview result letter, tell them go home. We will let you know whenever we make a decision. It can take months. We don't know.
Mhm.
Then for people who are outside the US, after interview, depending on if officer needs to put the person do more research or put them on administrative process, they have to do that, and we don't know how long it's gonna take. If they can approve it right there, they can tell they or will ask that person to keep their passport in at the embassy so that they can stamp it and they can get it in like a few days, and then get their immigrant visa, which is equivalent of a green card, and then come here. So there are some research and background check that are still needed to be done after interviews. Sometimes officer can get it done right there. Sometimes they can't.
That's wonderful. I'm not sure about this type of visa. Does it require also for people to take vaccination and stuff like that after the visa, maybe,
Green
or before
card is
the
the one
visa?
that they
Yeah.
need to do vaccination. Yeah, either
Yeah.
here or there, they need
Yeah.
to medical exam, which is
Okay. Perfect.
yeah.
That's also takes time. I remember. I mean, I came through a green card, like a lottery. I remember it took me a few weeks to do also the medical checkup. So um, that's this is very, very useful information. So let's move on to the denial, because it happens. Sometimes maybe people did not apply properly. And what happens after denial? Do people have the right to appeal, or what steps can they take, to get their spouse to the US, especially for people who are already out there, or also for people whose spouse is already here?
Yeah. Well, it very depend on why it was denied. We usually go through the denial and see what was the reason. Is that something that fixable? Was something missed or mistake by USCIS that we can explain to them, you made a mistake on this judgment? Or no, there was something that couple really missed, or there's no way to fix it. One point that we need to like consider in deciding whether or not to appeal is that it sometimes it goes back to the same officer. And if the decision is unreasonable, you can appeal, but sometimes you rather restart the process with fresh new set of records and evidence, and a new officer reviewing your case. So it depends on why it got denied. Sometimes there's no way, we know that even if you appeal it, you're gonna lose it because you really didn't meet the requirement, and there's no way we can argue. And I mean, we argue, but maybe you don't win. Rather than waiting and spending your time and energy and funding for appeal, I rather to start the process again and refile it because it's gonna be more efficient.
That's really sad when people, get the denial. But what I hear you say is, it's not time to panic yet. They still can, go to a lawyer and consult instead of just, trying to get it approved again or apply again.
Right.
They would need to consult and see if there is a chance, because there are times that it may not.
Yeah, I had people who they find themselves. They the officer already went to their place. They interviewed them. They made a mistake and didn't respond properly. And there was already discrepancy in their case. They came to me when they already issued notice to intend to deny. They wanted to deny the case, but they already messed up the case a lot and said different stuff to the officer, um, which we couldn't fix that discrepancy. Whatever we explained that, hey, these people, because of this problem and this problem, they have memory issue, they couldn't remember, but it didn't work out. They denied. And instead of us appealing and dealing with the same discrepancy and same officer, which we already argued, there's nothing else that we can say that we didn't say,
Yeah.
officer will accept that. We decided to refund and got approved
Wow.
based on new set of records. Yeah.
Which brings me to the first point. Like, I mean, preparation is everything. Like
Mhm.
before even denying or accepting, like we need to spend more time preparing, consulting, right information. Having the right information is really, really important. In our community, I heard the same case. Like there are many cases that got denied unnecessarily. They've been waiting for 10 years, and then, some of them never had it because it's messed up so much they cannot apply again. So I really always talk to my clients that, oh, you need to consult. And whenever they come to me, oh, about the immigration, I'm like, you need to consult a lawyer. I am not a lawyer. I may know some stuff, but it's always, I don't want somebody's future, in my hands, whether for better or worse. It's always good to have time to prepare and consult, and then have the right information and go from there. And I know that some lawyers, I work with lawyers a lot, and I know that they have, maybe even if you can afford it, they may have a consulting fee, like consulting session for 30 minutes or whatever, that they can come and consult you before they make a decision to do that. So do you offer that at your office? Is that something you do?
Yes, definitely. That's something that we offer consultation. And I always tell people hiring a lawyer is like a doctor. You need to
Yeah.
talk to people and choose the one that you're more comfortable and trust. This is key factor in this relationship, attorney and client relationship. And even if you can't afford or you don't want to work with a lawyer for your case, it's better to consult with a lawyer before filing, to figure out the process, to know the key point of that case. Yeah, we have a plan for our clients that other than consultation, that we have it 30 minutes with our clients. We don't take a case without consultation, but for people who can't afford the client attorney and want to fight themselves, we have a plan that they can come and fill out everything. We review it, a document review session with them. Obviously, the responsibility of what they file is on them at the end of the road, but we can go through them and see if they have everything right way to do it, they are putting all of application form or not. So we have that option for some clients, some people that can't do whole process with lawyer.
That's very generous. I really love that free session that I've used it many times in different areas in my life that lawyers have, so that you can actually tell them what's going on and they can tell you whether they will help you or they can help you, or if you guys can continue, or you could just take that advice in 30 minutes and maybe it's enough. So I really love that. So I have finished all my questions. This is so important information that you have bestowed on us, and I have learned a lot from the process. Is there any last minute advice or anything that you would like to say to our audience?
We covered a lot of important topics and information regarding marriage green card and how we can help immigrants and people to go through this process in our firm. We also offer multiple payment options in our firm, which we recently started working with finance companies that are offering assistance to immigrants for legal service fee. They can finance it. And also for the fee that they pay to USCIS, they can finance that also. Because there are a lot of situations that we have seen with our client. We have done everything. They gave us all documents. We prepared the application. The package is ready to go, but they don't have enough money for USCIS, like 1,700 filing fee to USCIS, which unfortunately April 1st, USCIS is increasing fees. It's insane how much they are increasing those fees. So we worked with this finance company that offering a finance option to people who are looking for that assistance. And information about payment options on our website. They can look at sadri-law.com, payment options, and see all of those options they can have. That's what we found over years. We're running a firm that's something that people really need help, and we're here to support them. We're here to provide them legal service, and they can pay later for that service.
That's incredible. I mean, having it ready for them over, all the way there. If money is a problem, there is an option. It's also keeping somebody's dignity. They want to do something, but they couldn't afford it, and doing the work for them ahead of time. And I really appreciate you for being here today and taking from your very busy schedule. I know you're a very busy woman, to give us this knowledge. I really, really appreciate it. And where can people find you? I know you mentioned a website, and we will post everything, but are there any places where they can find you?
Our website is the best place to find us, sadri-law.com. They can schedule consultation with me directly from the website, or they can see also our service options that we provide. Any service, that family green card, and the WAWA, asylum, citizenship that we offer, everything is in there. And see more information about us, and also address and phone number, which is 408-416-3000. It's on the website. They can call us and schedule a consultation, and we definitely look into their type of case to see if that's something that we can help. Then we schedule them for consultation with me, because we don't want to waste their time and funding and energy. We want to let them know in advance if that's something that we can help. And yeah, that's how they can find us.
That is wonderful. And I will post that. And this is important. Our future is important. We came all the way from another country. We worked hard, and we want to help, we want to bring our spouses in. It's important to have the right information and the right person to consult to make it smoother. We don't want any struggle anymore. I don't know about you. I'm like, I can't take any more struggle. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I just need it easy. So thank you for making everything, like the questions. USCIS is very complex. The paperwork is so complex, and for making it easy and to understand and to digest. So with that, I thank you.
Thank you for having me.